Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Hardam Tripathi from Trip Law. Today, we're going to go into part 2 of this series of basically the civics questions that are asked. If you look at our preface video that we have already provided, and if you could like or subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated so we can continue to help other immigrants just like you, other legal permanent residents who are wanting to get their citizenship. Much appreciated. We would love that. That way we can continue to help people. Now, I'm an immigrant myself, and I remember, this naturalization process. It can be a little bit scary, but as long as you study, as long as you have an attorney who's going to be there in that room with you, you're going to be okay, right? Because we're going to basically help you make sure you answer those questions correctly by making sure that the officers aren't asking or doing things that go against what their USCIS policies are mandated to do. Furthermore, we'll prep you. We'll make sure that you have all of your questions done correctly. If you have language deficiencies, maybe you have cognitive issues based on your age or based on any medical history, we're actually very happy to help you with that because there are certain exemptions that will apply where you do not have to ultimately do it by yourself. You can have a translator available to you. We'll help you with that as well. So the part of the series today, the video we're making today, is going to be basically about questions 1 through 12 that they tend to ask more than they do other questions. This is actually probably one of the most important videos. So if you're listening in, good job for you. Kudos to you because you're actually taking time to learn this. You could go online, you could find the questions. That's absolutely beneficial. But however, watching these videos, understanding why these questions are important will help you with respect to your context and how you answer and all of that. Things that we do as an attorney for you once retained. So the first part of this series of questions, the second part of this whole series actually, involves principles of American democracy. And that's a big word, right? But that just means what is the foundation? What are the principles that you as that immigrant or that legal permanent resident applying for citizenship, when you're in that civics question part of that test that you have, what are they going to ask you, right? So these are the top 12 questions that you have to know absolutely like the back of your hand. You should know it, right? And it's very important. A lot of U.S. citizens that are born here don't even know a lot of these answers. So kudos to you. We're very happy that you're listening on this video today. So we'll start with question 1 and we'll work down to 12. I'll try to make it as quick as possible because I know your time is very important. And we will further, help you once we're retained to kind of make sure you get these questions correct because these are some of the most important questions. These are the questions they more likely than not will ask at your interview more than any other question set that we will have in this series. So such an important video 2 overall, but basically very important. Number 1, the question they're going to ask is, what is the supreme law of the land, right? That's a question. What is the supreme law of the land? What is the number one thing that all law or all policy or everything that you have to basically follow as a citizen? Well, it's called the Constitution. We have this beautiful thing called the United States Constitution. You coming from another country, a third country, probably have a constitution that you follow. But when you take that oath of allegiance and you pass that citizenship exam, you're basically taking an oath that will basically say that you are abiding by the Constitution. That's the supreme law of the land of the United States. So you want to say Constitution. Now, number 2, they're going to say, what does the Constitution do? Right? And one tip I like to give a lot of my clients is that you don't have to remember everything. Just remember one answer out of it because there's a lot to remember. You're probably very busy working as a legal permanent resident. You probably have a family of your own. So you don't have to remember all this, right? Just remember one little component, the one answer that you say to the USCIS officer who's conducting your interview. So when they ask you, what does the Constitution do? There's 3 possible answers that you have, right? You have, it sets up the government, right? Once again, that's it sets up the government. It defines the government, right? It defines the government. And then it protects basic rights of Americans. Basically, it protects basic rights of Americans. You saw that I repeated it twice. The reason I did that is because it's important how you say it. However, instead of saying protects the basic rights of Americans, it's easier just to say sets up the government. So we try to find ways to help you where it's easier to remember. If you hear the question, what does the Constitution do? Sets up the government. Very easy to just say back. And like I said, if you have issues with language and things like that, call us. We'll try to seek exemptions for you based on what's ethically and legally available to you based on your medical history. So don't try to overcomplicate this. Keep it simple. What does the government do? Or excuse me, what does the Constitution do? Sets up the government. Okay? Number 3, the idea of self-government is the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? Once again, the idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? In my career, they've never asked this question, but if you're listening in, the answer is we the people. If you've ever visited DC or ever gone to places where there's the Constitution up, the answer is we the people. It always starts with that. It's in big italics. It says we the people. So the answer to that is we the people. Number 4 is, what is an amendment, right? This is a question we do get a lot. And the answer to that is it's a change to the Constitution. Another thing is it's an addition to the Constitution. So just remember that it's a change. So the change is an addition, right? So you just want to say a change to the Constitution. It's very simple. We have a lot of amendments, which we're about to get into, but you don't have to remember all the definitions or answers. Just remember one, get very good at it, and then answer it. To keep up with time, because this is going to be a semi-long video, we want to keep it quick for your sake. We're going to keep moving. Number 5 asks, what do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? So remember, there's a bunch of amendments to the Constitution. Amendment is a change to the Constitution. So what do we call the first 10 amendments? Well, we call those the Bill of Rights. So you just have to say Bill of Rights. It's a simple thing you should say, and we'll help you try to remember that. Now, the next question is, this is one they most likely ask. I get this question a lot when I'm at interviews with clients. It's, what is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? The First Amendment is literally the First Amendment to the Constitution. And that's kind of what you hear about on TV or the news, or when you've probably been a legal permanent resident. It's kind of it's a bunch of rights you're afforded as a citizen of the United States based on the First Amendment, the change to the Constitution. These rights include speech, religion, assembly, press, and to petition the government. Once again, that's speech, religion, assembly, press, and to petition the government. But to keep it simple, just remember one. The question, remember, says, what is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? So you probably just want to say religion. Most of y'all come from a lot of different countries with different religions. Most of y'all have freedom of speech. There's also a very important component where speech is a component. So just say speech or religion. Now, the 7th question we have is, how many amendments does the Constitution have? Once again, how many amendments does the Constitution have? Very common question we get. You just have to remember the number, 27. 27 amendments to the Constitution. Number 8, what did the Declaration of Independence do? Very rarely do I get this question, but it's important to know. And there's all these fancy statements. It's basically announced our independence from Great Britain, or declared our independence from Great Britain, or said that the United States is free from Great Britain. Well, that's very complicated, right? So you just want to say that the U.S. is free. If you say that, more likely than not, the government's going to basically provide that answer as something that is correct. So just basically say that basically the United States is free. You don't have to say from Great Britain. Now, finally, we're going to go into the last about 4 questions. Number 9 is, what are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So there's 3. So basically, you're going to have 3 separate rights that you have. So when they say, what are the 2 rights? One is life and liberty. Just say that. It's going to be very, it's such a great question. But the answer is there, life and liberty. Finally, what is freedom of religion, they're going to ask. And freedom of religion means that you can practice any religion you want in this country. So basically, you can just say capitalist economy, and that'll be correct. And finally, what is the rule of law? It's basically that everyone must follow the rule of law. And that's the answer you want to say. So we hope you found these 12 questions very, understanding, and we hope that it helps you with your case. And we wish you the best of luck with your civics exam at your naturalization interview. Thank you.